Hey there, sports history fan. Arnie Chapman here from the Sports History Network. Now, before you jump into this episode, I wanted to share with you an exciting giveaway we have going on with Home Field Apparel. We have a digital $50 gift card to homefieldapparel.com for one lucky fan of the Sports History Network. All you got to do is head over to sportshistorynetwork.com/giveaways to sign up. Again, that's sportshistorynetwork.com/giveaways.
Hello, this is Ross Bliley from the podcast Pigskin Tales. This podcast is sponsored by Sterling Soap Company. With products sold throughout 41 locations around the globe, Sterling Soap Company has a unique assortment of products to choose from for your loved one for the holidays. Handmade artisan soaps created by Roderick and Amanda Lovin since 2012, these products are affordable and provide great value. Act now and save on your shipping costs. If you purchase $75 or more, your shipping cost is free in the United States. Shop now online at sterlingsoap.com.
I'd like to welcome everybody back to the Football's Family Podcast. And today, for just a few minutes, I want to talk about what happens when a team loses. You know, with the Super Bowl that happened not too long ago, we see the fallout of what happens when the Chiefs lose. And the Chiefs lost big. I didn't anticipate them to lose at all, much less lose that big. You and I both saw what happened, and the Eagles dominated that game. It was an amazing game for the Eagles. They called the right play. Nick Sirianni saved his job. They were talking about firing him at the beginning of the year, and now he is going to probably sign a 40-year extension, just the way things work there, which is awesome. I'm very, very happy for the people in Philadelphia. But you look at the opposite end. Kansas City got hammered, and they were looking disheveled, and the 3 touchdowns that Patrick Mahomes threw were just in garbage time. Shows that they do have a good team coming up, but you started hearing immediately about the passing of the torch, about how the Eagles are now the it team in the NFL. And it's funny, my daughter doesn't pay attention to football, doesn't really care for my desire to watch the Titans or any type of football. I bought a TV to watch football, and now I have to go and watch it somewhere else because she has the TV when she's at home. But now she wants Saquon Barkley stuff, not with the Giants, but with the Eagles. I bought her a shirt. She wants the Eagles hat, that sort of stuff. They're the it team now because of the Super Bowl. But now you're hearing Andy Reid is struggling with certain things. Travis Kelce didn't know if he was coming back. I just got a message that he's coming back for his next season. You're not hearing a lot about that. You're hearing about a lot of holes that they had. The offensive line couldn't stop anybody during the Super Bowl. So when a team loses, you have a lot of things that kind of come up that make you wonder what's going to happen next. And you think, well, that's not supposed to happen. You know, a team who won 2 Super Bowls in 3 years and several over the years, that they should have a pulse. They should have a hold of the pulse of the nation. They should know these things. But it also shows you that the NFL is fickle. You win a Super Bowl and you're the it team. Will the Eagles respond next year? You're running into cap space. You're running into cap situations. You're doing that with every other team, really. So we'll see. We'll see. The closer we get to the draft, we're going to talk more about what the Eagles and the Chiefs and every other team needs. But I want to go to look at, for the next couple of minutes, look at one situation that's close to my heart. And it gives me heartburn, is what it is. My Titans had an awful year this year. They couldn't stop anything. Their offense struggled. Their defense was okay, but it struggled at the end. Our offensive line is terrible. It's terrible. We spent the last 2 first round draft picks on offensive linemen that did okay, but have a learning curve. But they can't stop. They're 2 out of 5. If you cannot stop with the other 3, you're in trouble. So the Titans, as a result of everything they got, is the number 1 overall draft pick in this coming year's draft. Now, there's a lot going on. If you don't follow the Titans, you're not alone. There's not a lot of following of the Titans. Once Derrick Henry left, a lot of the national interest moved away from the Titans. And when the Titans were the laughingstock of the NFL this year, there were a lot of even Titans fans that went, okay, we're going to cover our head in sand and just wait for this season to be over. But now we have the number one draft pick. So what do you do with it? When I was looking, this is just Titans history. This is not Oiler history. Oiler had the number one pick before, and they picked Earl Campbell, which is amazing. That was a pretty good draft pick, in my opinion. But the Oilers aside, the Titans have not had the number one draft pick. They had number three, number five, and number two. Number two was in 2015, and they picked up Marcus Mariota, which, regardless of what you think, I think was a pretty decent draft pick. He didn't pan out the way you want, but that's fine. He did what he needed to do. I think that the closer you get to the top, obviously the worse your season was, unless you traded into it the previous year. But I think also your expectations as a player, the expectation put on you as a player, is heightened. And here's what I mean. If you were the number 32 pick overall or number 64, you have expectations and you want to do well. But if you're the number one draft pick, number two, number three, number four, in 2017, they picked up Corey Davis. I still have his jersey, number five. He didn't work out. You whiff on something like that, especially an offensive need that you had for your team, then there you go. You struggle with that. 2019, the Titans pick with the number 19 pick overall, Jeffrey Simmons. That was a hit. 51, A.J. Brown. That was a hit. And A.J. Brown now has a Super Bowl ring. Think about that. We gave up A.J. Brown. Yeah, I don't want to talk about that anymore. But notice how in any team, if you mess up the first round, first overall pick, or your first round pick, period, but the first overall pick, you're in trouble. So now you have the whole NFL draft in front of you. Every player that you want is yours. Any of them, any of them, any of them. What do you do? Well, there's a lot of rumors that the Titans are going to trade out of the pick. The problem is you have to find somebody to take that pick. Now, back in the day when Sam Bradford was doing it, they would get guaranteed contracts up in the 60 million range, not per year, but overall, which was incredible compared to the cap space at the time and compared to the fact that they're rookies and people who had played in the NFL for 3 or 4 or 5 years, who were established veterans and stars, could not bring that in. So you had the rookie wage scale, which kind of takes care of things. But even then, you're still going to find it hard for somebody to trade up. What is the number one draft pick worth? Back in the late in 1989, 1990, that sort of stuff, they had out of the Cowboys came up with, this draft pick is worth these draft picks. Had that kind of worksheet. Is that still applicable today, or is it something different? So if you are looking at the number one draft pick overall, do you trade down? If you do, would anybody be willing to trade up? And if they're willing to trade up, what are they willing to give you? Now that is the key, because with the Titans, our number one priority should be quarterback. Period. Do you have a quarterback in this draft that is worth the number one draft pick? Cam Ward is one of those things that I really like. Cam Ward. I think he's an impressive player and he will go somewhere. Problem is, do you want him number one? The one I'm hearing most of all is Travis Hunter, who is a beast. He could play both ways, as I'm seeing. I just got a message from NFL.com saying that he could play both ways, and he could. Cornerback, wide receiver. He is Deion Sanders type stuff, primetime type stuff. But Travis Hunter needs somebody to throw him the ball. And if you're a Titans fan, do you trust Will Levis to do that? And the answer is resounding no. So if you're the Titans, what do you do? Because if your team was the number one draft pick, number one overall draft pick, and they had that, and they needed everything because the Titans need everything. And that's part of the reason why I thought they were going to trade Jeffrey Simmons this year to get more draft picks. A rebuilding team have draft picks. The idea of losing Jeffrey Simmons hurt, but I got it because you find a contending team that needs somebody like a Jeffrey Simmons. You would find some people that were willing to give up a lot more than just a third round draft pick for somebody as great as Jeffrey Simmons. But how would you handle that? Because you think about some of the teams out there, Carolina, even Chicago, that they spent the number one draft pick that they got from Carolina on Caleb Williams, and I think Caleb Williams is going to be a good player. You look at other teams out there that what would your team do if they had the number one draft pick? What would San Francisco do? What would Seattle do? If Kansas City had the number one pick, what would they do? What would your team do if they own that pick? Because I'll tell you this, the further down you get in the draft order, the less likely you are to move up dramatically because you have to have capital to move up. This year, I don't see somebody like Seattle or anything moving up. I don't see anybody like that. Let me see if I can pull up here real quick the order of the draft. See, the Titans, the Browns, the Giants, the Patriots, and the Jaguars are all top 5 picks. And you keep going down the list, and you find more and more teams that did well. Obviously, that's what happens when you do well, you go down. Nobody really looks like they have the type of capital in the first round to move up. Because if I were the Titans, it would at least take a couple of first round draft picks for me to move up. Well, maybe they package the first round of this year, first round of next year, a second round of this year, and a second round of next year. That's fine. But do you take the chance that this number one overall pick, Travis Hunter, would probably be the guy that I look at? But again, that's just me. We'll know because the combine will come up pretty soon, and then you have the draft. Would you give up a generational player like a Travis Hunter for the potential of somebody next year? But if you move down, would you take a chance on Cam Ward if he's there, or even or another quarterback as a project quarterback? What would you do? What would you do? I like this idea of just don't show your hand. Wait till closer to the draft, make the move, shake up things, or even better, wait to the day of the draft when you're on the clock for 15 minutes, then you make the move. You still get your fans worked up. They still think you have the number one pick, and then they see that you make a move. This year's draft, another problem, unless somebody wants Travis Hunter, because I think he's the overall best pick there is. I think that he is the guy that if somebody really wants him, they're going to sell the farm for him. Hold off on that. Hold off on that. And if no one bites, take him. And then look at a dart from Ole Miss, or if Cam Ward drops to the second round, look at him. You have a lot of potential as the number one pick to do what you need to do. So for the Titans, what do you think? What do you think that they do? If you are a GM, if you got the number one pick in Madden, what would you do? I want to thank y'all for listening today. If you'd like to come on one day to talk football, talk any type of sports for the Football's Family Podcast, just message me on Twitter at Jeremy_McFarlin, and I will get you on. Thank you and have a great day.
Hey there, sports history fan. This is Arnie Chapman, a.k.a. the Football History Dude, and I hope that you enjoyed this recent episode presented by the Sports History Network and were able to learn some good old-fashioned sports history knowledge nuggets. I started the Sports History Network back in 2020 with the mission to help podcasters find a community of like-minded sports history nerds, as well as helping aspiring podcasters to start their own shows. We have a little bit over 30 shows on the network right now covering all sorts of sports history, but as far as I'm concerned, we're just at the toothpick in the ocean moment, that can't even figure it out because there's so much more coming. We wanted to create the ultimate headquarters for sports yesteryear. starting with Podcast Network and our website, but we're going to continue to move into other mediums as well. And here's the cool part, because we want you to be part of our team. So if you're interested in starting your own podcast, or maybe being a guest on one of our shows, or who knows, maybe even writing an article for us over on the website. Seriously, all you gotta do is reach out to us on the contact page over at sportshistorynetwork.com. You can be as technologically savvy as a Neanderthal tapping on a stone trying to figure out this whole hieroglyphics thing back in the day. Again, it doesn't matter, because even if you don't understand the whole podcast space, we have a production team that can pretty much help you out with doing everything. All you gotta do, head over to sportshistorynetwork.com, head to the contact page, fill it out. That message goes right to me, and I'll reach out to you as soon as I can. But for now, dude, I'm through if you're through.